we can go right ahead and talking about Giannis and his Adidas deal and sort of things and speculations and what's happening around there as why he turned it down, because it was supposed to be a shoe deal, and as we know, he signed with Nike rather quickly after rejecting his Adidas deal. And what was the reason why? Did he just not like Adidas? Did he just not like the shoes that he was going to be offered? Did he just want to go to a different shoe deal? Was it more money involved? What was going on? So Giannis, he's emerged as one of Nike's biggest stars, and he spent his entire NBA career with the brand developing his own signature shoe, but he did have original plans of signing with Adidas, and it's similar to the story on how Michael Jordan in the beginning, he wanted to sign with Adidas as well, being in the beginning of his career. There was also Converse, because Converse was the most popular shoe at the time, but then his mother was like, no, you're signing with Nike, and look at what happened to him after signing with Nike. Now, on the Thanasis show, which is basically the podcast with Thanasis and Giannis, so he shared the story on how he decided to sign with Nike over signing with Adidas. He said that he originally met with an Adidas representative. He was promised that his brother, Thanasis, would also receive a contract. And when he met with the representative later, things changed. So it's kind of funny. The biggest reason why Giannis didn't sign with Adidas was because Adidas wasn't willing to sign with his brother. And Giannis said, quote, he brought the contract and put it in front of me, and I'm like, okay, great, where's my brothers? And Antetokounmpo said, and he was like, we're not going to sign your brothers today. You're going to sign yours, and then we're going to bring your brother in a week and sign his. And I was like, no, thank you. That's exactly what Giannis said. And he explained on the podcast that at the time, his family was in a place of need, and he was willing to accept a contract for just about anything, but if his brother wasn't a part of the picture, he didn't want to take it. So this was sort of like before Giannis got that big name of the Greek Freak, and before he even won the title, and before all of this even happened. So if you're looking at it from a business perspective, it somewhat makes sense, like, okay, wait a minute, why is it so important? And, like, if it means we need to sign two players, then given how Giannis's name wasn't as big as it is now, and it wasn't really like a custom for for big companies or organizations to sort of cater to these players, especially when they felt that the player didn't really deserve it at the time. And Giannis said, at the end of the day, if he had put in front of us some toilet paper and some cash next to it, we probably would have signed it because he knew we were in need. And at the time, we weren't able to take care of our family and in the best way. He knew our story. I think maybe the people who work above him tried to take advantage. And obviously, that would have rubbed anyone who was trying to get money and trying to get a shoe deal the wrong way. Like that, it just makes total sense that they would be rubbed the wrong way, because it's like, why can't you just sign? In his mind, he's like, why can't you just sign my brother? You know the things that we're going through, yet here you are standing here waving that over my head, and like you know that I'm in a really difficult position, so, and you know that I'm going to sign it, and it's just like, it could be seen as being taken advantage of in Giannis's perspective. And not only that, but I mean, we all know how Giannis feels about his brother, and we all know how, like, the relationship that they all have with each other. It's like, if you don't, like, especially with Giannis, and this sort of has given me new and different opinions on the decision making on whether or not Adrian Griffin was going to be the future head coach for the Bucks and why he was removed. So there was rumors going around that Giannis was the reason as to why Adrian Griffin lost his job, because Adrian Griffin was seen talking down on Thanasis and Thanasis' game. And the alleged report was that Giannis didn't like that and therefore caused him to get fired and removing him from the head coaching position. And before, I thought it was like a joke, because obviously like removing a head coach for that specific reason, I thought it was just a little bit ridiculous. But after reading this article and just figuring out the reason why Giannis didn't pick Adidas to sign with, it's starting to make a lot more sense that that's sort of like that's the approach that he goes with. And it makes even more sense as to why Adrian Griffin lost the head coaching position and the head coaching role that he had, because I didn't think Giannis was involved in that, but now there's somewhat of a chance that, at least in my mind, that he was, because again, it's like it's you and his brother. It's Giannis and Thanasis. It's not just Giannis. And if you do not realize that they are a package deal, he's not going with you. And that's both advantageous and that's also disadvantageous, because you could look at it from one end like, okay, all we have to do is give his brother some share of the money and everything, and you have Giannis. It's similar to LeBron's relationship with Bronny right now, or how GMs think Bronny and LeBron's relationship is going to play in the NBA, because they think if you get Bronny, then you're going to get LeBron. And it's similar in the sense where it's like they're a package deal. And Nike, being the shoe deal that he eventually signed with, obviously didn't make the same mistake that Adidas made. And once they spoke with the Nike representative, he allegedly didn't hesitate to give his brother the shoe contract. It was like, okay, here's your contract, Giannis. And then, okay, my brother gets one too. Yes, your brother's is right here. So it was like instantaneously, like it showed that they wanted to have Giannis on the Nike team, and they wanted him to have a signature shoe for Nike. So in terms of which big brand wanted him more, Nike obviously showed him that he wanted him more. And a quote from Giannis, he says, "It was my turn to speak, and I said that it's important for me for it to be a family thing. And when you take me, you take my family, my brother, my mom." And she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. After that, we've been with Nike, and she's been by our side ever since. So it's a package deal. And it really speaks on how some of these athletes think when it comes to signing endorsements, because most of the time, these athletes, they're mainly, it makes sense for them to be worried about themselves, because they came to the NBA to make this much money, and they came to the NBA to sign these shoe deals so that it helps them make this much money. And most of the time, athletes will have a more selfish view and a much more selfish approach on the shoe deal, because it's their signature shoe, and they want all the money they can possibly have for themselves. Giannis is thinking a little bit differently, and given the fact that he's an international player, a lot of people in all different parts of the world, they think differently. And his thinking is more so help my family than help me, which is, I don't think it might be something that big corporate brands can understand, because their main drive is to make money for themselves. And it's much more technical than it is ethical. And with Giannis, you sort of need to have, you sort of need to be ethically right, and you sort of need to think about others before thinking about yourself in order to stay on the same page as him. And Nike did that by showing that, okay, yeah, we'll sign your brother if you really want him on the team. and like the Nike team. And this is obviously where the Bucks might end up messing up their opportunity with Giannis, because if they don't offer Thanasis a deal, then chances are they might not offer Giannis a deal, and any other team can go ahead and scoop him up, which really puts some of these teams in a really difficult spot, but not in that much of a difficult spot, because it's not like you have to offer Thanasis a lot of money. You just have to offer him money. And in turn, that money, because the amount of money on contracts that NBA players make is a lot to ask for just one person alone. So giving him a small share, like maybe like $1 million or $2 million, things like that, it allows him to transport the money back home to his family, which is ultimately what the brothers are doing, playing in the NBA, providing for their family. And that's basically all that I have to talk about for this first segment and with Giannis's shoe deal. So with that, we are out of time, and now we are going to go into the second segment where I talk about Kyrie Irving in a much more positive manner than what I thought I would talk about Kyrie as this season unfolded. So I will be right back after this short break.